there that night. The driver was going a bit too fast and was attempting to pass a slow-moving car at the intersection of Roseville Road and Fruitville Pike, not knowing the slower-moving car was planning to turn off. When the car turned in front of him, the driver of the fast-moving car careened across the highway, hit me. I became a heroine overnight, which I enjoyed. But the outstanding thing I remember was about this experience that I made a vow to God when I knew I was going to be hit, that if he let me live, I would serve him the rest of my life. And I have tried to keep that vow. Two things I ought to tell you. We had a cows at home, which I really had to help with because I had 4 brothers, and I helped often enough to know I thoroughly didn't like milking. So I often made this statement: I'm never going to get married. Who in the whole world would ever want to marry me? Anyway, but if I ever did get married, I certainly
Wouldn't marry a dairy farmer.
I certainly, let me see, wouldn't marry a farmer who milked cows. No way.
What happened?
I don't know. I saw a good-looking guy, and he had dimples in his cheeks. After several of my very romance were over and done with, I met this boy from Lititz. He was tall, handsome, and ruddy complexion, and when he smiled, he had deep dimples in his cheeks. And oh yes, he milked cows. On his father's farm, and was a member of the Lititz Mennonite Church, and asked me, you guessed it, we got married, and we've been milking cows ever since. This started me on my career of being a farmer's wife. Our herd has grown from 4 cows to 80, all of them registered Holsteins, and the big beautiful black and white cow that I have, that I love. Can't make it up. And one thing about cows, and if the reason most people don't have any, is that they have got to be milked twice a day and every day. Sundays, holidays, and every day, year in and year out. They have got to be milked when there's a blizzard, whatever. They've got to be milked when people are on vacation, and they got to be milked. And when you rather sleep, well, they have to be milked. When you're sick, they even have to be milked then. For ways is having your wife is having a baby. Oh, what in the world is that? One of our babies was born November 11th, 1954, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so she didn't interfere with milking time, and she only lived 39 days. She died evening of December 20th, 1954, and 6 o'clock in the evening was that young mother flying out the house and running to the barn. Was she me? She's dead, the young woman screamed to her husband, who had met her at the milk house. Was that me pounding him on the chest with my fists and crying and sobbing? She's dead. Mary Louise, she died. Our beautiful baby is dead. Was that me? Just 11 months later, who woke up with the alarm clock at 5:30 in the morning and promptly discovered her baby was on the way. Wake up, Dick, right away. We got to go. We're going to have a baby. You've got to take me to the hospital. Was that him? Dad answered, really? I'll have to milk the cows first. So out he went to the cow stable, and I called the doctor. When did the baby pains start? Just a few minutes ago. How far apart are they? Well, I can't quite tell. It's more like it kind of feels like one great big pain. Well, having around home as long as, hang around home as long as possible and keep in touch. I'll be there. Thank you, doctor. Then I called my neighbor lady. Joanne, can you please come over and play with the children? This is it. I gotta go. Oh, I'm so sorry. My husband changed shifts and you will have to bring the children over there. I groaned, but somehow, within a few minutes' time, I had the children washed and dressed in some of their clothes.
No wonder Sue was born in the car.
No suitcases. Who needed them? We never went anywhere. Somehow, by the time I realized my situation was a bit serious, I sent Shirley out to the cow stable. Tell Daddy he must come at once. I called the doctor and then walked around the car. We dropped the children off at the neighbors. It was 6 o'clock in the evening. Did you ever travel the Fruitville Pike? If you did, you know the narrow and windy that my husband speeding down the road at 70 miles. Was that me saying, of all things, of it, please, a little faster? Oh, what was that hanging over the seat of the car? Dangling, well, pick it up, my husband said. So I picked it up. It wasn't breathing, so I sucked the mucus from its nose, and it started breathing, but wasn't crying. I started spanking her, and she started crying just a little. We cry. I put her inside my coat and held her there until we arrived at the hospital a few minutes later. Oh, that happened 15 minutes time. All that happened in 15 minutes time. My husband went out of the car, ducked out of the car, and very soon a nurse came running with a scissors and heated dishpan. She removed the baby from me, placed her in the heated dishpan, and disappeared into the hospital. My husband lifted me out of the car. He placed me on a stretcher and pushed me, not a stretcher, it was a wheelchair, pushed me into the hospital. Turned out to be a girl, and she has a distinction of being one of the few people who arrived in the delivery room before her mother. She is also the only one of the children who falls asleep the minute her head hits the pillow and wakes up just and out in the cow stable when the alarm goes off. That's it. What a story.
There's your whole life. Well, Mother, I think you should finish it now.
What?
You could write the ending.
I thought that was it.
Well, maybe I guess it is the ending. Well, it's called Have a Glass of Milk.
Yeah. She's also the only one of who I'll have to think a little how to end that. Have a glass of milk. I'd like to end it with that. Have a glass of milk.
Yeah, I think you should. I think we could figure it out.